The Galactic Ambassador's arrival. Ambassador Xyloth stood on the observation deck of the GFS Celestia, his iridescent eyes fixed on the blue-green world below. Earth. The planet had been a source of both fascination and concern for the Galactic Federation. Humans, with their chaotic creativity and rapid technological advancement, were an enigma. Xyloth's mission was clear: make first contact, assess humanity's potential, and determine their readiness to join the galactic community. As the Celestia descended through Earth's atmosphere, Xyloth reviewed the first contact protocols. Extensive as they were, he couldn't help but feel a flicker of uncertainty. Humans were unpredictable, their reactions to extraterrestrial life a matter of much conjecture. Ambassador, his aide, Xandr, materialized beside him, his holographic form shimmering with anxious energy. "We're approaching the designated landing site, but there's a complication." Xyloth's antennae twitched. "Explain." "The humans, Well, it appears they've organized some sort of welcoming event. Quite a large one, in fact. They're calling it the Interstellar Unity Festival." The ambassador's mandibles clicked in surprise. This was not in the protocols. A festival? We were expecting a formal diplomatic reception. The Federation Council will not. His words were cut off by a sudden burst of color and sound from the planet's surface. As the Celestia broke through the clouds, Xyloth beheld an astonishing sight. The landing site was surrounded by a vast crowd of humans, a sea of upturned faces and waving appendages. Banners depicting stylized alien figures fluttered in the breeze, while towering holographic displays cycled through messages of welcome in hundreds of Earth languages. Music, a chaotic yet strangely harmonious blend of styles, drifted up to the ship. Xyloth watched in amazement as the crowd parted, revealing a long pathway lined with flags bearing the emblems of Earth's myriad nations. At the end of the path stood a small group of humans, their clothing and bearing marking them as leaders. Ambassador Xyloth, one of them stepped forward, a small female with hair the color of Earth's sun. "I'm Prime Minister Adira Chandra. On behalf of all of Earth, welcome. We've been eagerly awaiting your arrival." Xyloth extended a claw, mimicking the human gesture of greeting. "Prime Minister Chandra, I confess, this is not the reception we were expecting." Chandra's face split into a wide grin, her dark eyes sparkling with mirth. "We thought you might say that. You see, Ambassador, when news of your impending arrival leaked, well, let's just say the people of Earth were excited. This festival is their way of showing it." As if on cue, a cheer rose from the crowd, a deafening roar that seemed to shake the very ground. Xyloth watched in astonishment as humans began to chant, their voices blending into a single, resonant refrain, "Welcome to Earth." Xandr, hovering at Xyloth's side, crackled with static. "Ambassador, this is unprecedented. The protocols do not cover festivities." Chandra laughed, a warm, inviting sound. "Ambassador Xyloth, if there's one thing you'll learn about humans, it's that we rarely do things by the book. We prefer to write our own stories. And this," she gestured to the jubilant crowd, the riot of color and sound, "is the first chapter in what we hope will be a long and prosperous relationship between our worlds." Xyloth, his mind racing to process this unexpected turn of events, could only nod. "Indeed, Prime Minister. It seems we have much to learn about Earth and its people." "Oh, you have no idea," Chandra winked. "Just wait until you see what we have planned for the rest of your visit. Trust me, Ambassador, you're in for quite an adventure." As the Celestia touched down and the crowd's cheers reached a crescendo, Xyloth felt a strange mix of trepidation and excitement. The humans' exuberant welcome defied every norm of interspecies contact, yet there was something undeniably alluring about their unbridled enthusiasm. Perhaps, he mused, the Federation had underestimated this young species. Perhaps humanity's greatest strength lay not in their technology or their resources, but in their indomitable spirit and their capacity for joy in the face of the unknown. Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: this first contact mission would be unlike any other in the history of the galaxy. The humans, with their festivals and their flags, their music and their mirth, would make sure of that. As Ambassador Xyloth stepped out of the Celestia and into the warm embrace of Earth's atmosphere, he couldn't help but feel that he was standing on the precipice of something extraordinary. The Interstellar Unity Festival, with all its chaos and color, was only the beginning. The true adventure, the real story of humanity's place among the stars, was about to unfold. And what a story it promised to be! Humanity's unconventional welcome. As the Interstellar Unity Festival kicked into high gear, Ambassador Xyloth and his crew found themselves swept up in a whirlwind of human culture and celebration. The festival grounds were a kaleidoscope of sights, sounds, and sensations, each more bewildering than the last. Everywhere Xyloth looked, humans were engaged in activities that defied explanation. Some wore elaborate costumes, their faces painted in vivid colors, mimicking the appearance of various alien species. Others were engaged in what appeared to be mock battles, wielding fantastical weapons and shouting in strange tongues. What in the name of the galactic core is going on here? Xandr muttered, his holographic form flickering with each pulse of the music. Xyloth shook his head, his antennae quivering with confusion. I believe the humans call it cosplay. It's a form of creative expression, from what I understand. As they made their way through the festival grounds, Xyloth and his crew were approached by countless humans, all eager to interact with their extraterrestrial visitors. Some presented them with gifts, strange figurines that bore an uncanny resemblance to the Celestia crew, while others requested to take selfies with the bemused aliens. One particularly enthusiastic group of humans insisted on teaching Xyloth and his crew a dance they called the Nebula Shuffle. The ambassador found himself awkwardly mimicking the humans' movements, his claws clicking in time with the beat. This is absurd, Xandr hissed, his form glowing a deep shade of red. We're here to assess humanity's potential, not participate in this chaos. Xyloth, however, found himself strangely drawn to the humans' infectious energy. There was something oddly compelling about their unbridled enthusiasm, their willingness to embrace the unknown with open arms. As the festival continued, Xyloth and his crew were ushered into a massive tent, where they were greeted by an astonishing sight. The interior was filled with displays showcasing human culture and technology, each more impressive than the last. One exhibit featured a timeline of human space exploration, from the earliest rockets to the quantum entanglement drives that had caught the Federation's attention. Another showcased the incredible diversity of Earth's ecosystems, from the lush rainforests to the stark beauty of the polar regions. But it was the central display that truly took Xyloth's breath away. There, suspended in a shimmering force field, was a perfect holographic representation of the Milky Way galaxy. As he watched, the image zoomed in, revealing the intricate web of connections between the stars, the countless worlds that made up the galactic community. And there, nestled among the other points of light, was a small, blue-green orb. Earth. A newcomer to the galactic stage, yet already making waves with its boundless potential. Beautiful, isn't it? A voice said from beside him. Xyloth turned to see Prime Minister Chandra, her face lit by the glow of the hologram. This is what we're celebrating today, Ambassador. Not just your arrival, but the promise of what lies ahead. The chance for Earth to take its place among the stars, to contribute to the greater galactic community. Xyloth nodded, his eyes still fixed on the hologram. Your people have a unique perspective, Prime Minister. One that the Federation could learn from, I suspect. Chandra smiled, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet, Ambassador. Wait until you see what we have planned for the grand finale. As if on cue, a hush fell over the festival grounds. The music faded, replaced by a low, thrumming vibration that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself. Xyloth and his crew exchanged puzzled glances, unsure of what to expect. And then, with a burst of light and sound, the sky above the festival erupted in a dazzling display of color and motion. Fireworks, unlike anything Xyloth had ever seen, painted the night in shades of red, green, and purple. Holographic projections of alien worlds and galactic wonders danced among the stars, while music swelled to a triumphant crescendo. The humans cheered, their faces upturned to the spectacle above, their eyes wide with wonder. And in that moment, Xyloth understood. This was humanity's way of reaching out, of extending a hand in friendship to the countless worlds beyond their own. It was a declaration of their readiness, their eagerness to join the galactic community. As the fireworks faded and the music died away, Xyloth turned to Chandra, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, Prime Minister. For this, for everything. Your people have given us much to consider." Chandra nodded, her smile soft and knowing. "The pleasure is ours, Ambassador. And remember, this is only the beginning. There are countless wonders yet to come, countless stories yet to be written. And Earth is ready to write its own chapter." With those words ringing in his ears, Xyloth and his crew made their way back to the Celestia, their minds buzzing with the events of the day. They had come to Earth expecting a simple first contact, a routine assessment of a young species' potential. Instead, they had found a world alive with possibility, a people unafraid to dream big and reach for the stars. The humans, with their festivals and their fireworks, their costumes and their dances, had shown them a glimpse of what the future could hold. And as the Celestia lifted off, carrying the ambassador and his crew back into the vast expanse of space, Xyloth knew one thing with absolute certainty: the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had arrived, and they were ready to make their mark. The adventure was just beginning. An unexpected cosmic crisis. As the Celestia cruised through the inky void of space, Ambassador Xyloth found himself lost in thought, his mind still reeling from the events of the Interstellar Unity Festival. The humans had proven to be a fascinating species, their boundless energy and creativity a force to be reckoned with. But even as he marveled at their potential, a nagging sense of unease tugged at the back of his mind. There was something about Earth, something he couldn't quite put his claw on, that set it apart from the countless other worlds he had encountered. His musings were interrupted by a sudden, urgent chirp from the ship's communication array. Xyloth frowned, his antennae twitching with concern. An unscheduled transmission from the Galactic Federation was never a good sign. "Ambassador," Xandra's holographic form flickered to life beside him, his expression grave. "We have an emergency transmission from the Federation Council. It's about Earth." Xyloth felt a chill run down his exoskeleton. "Put it through." The view screen shimmered, resolving into the image of a tall, spindly creature with luminous eyes and a crown of pulsating tendrils. It was Counselor Zax, one of the most influential members of the Federation. "Ambassador Xyloth," Zax began, his voice thrumming with urgency. "We have detected a massive cosmic anomaly in the vicinity of Earth. A space-time distortion of unprecedented magnitude." Xyloth's claws tightened on the armrests of his chair. "What kind of distortion?" We don't know," Zax admitted, his tendrils writhing with agitation. "Our best scientists are at a loss. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered. But one thing is certain: if left unchecked, it could pose a grave threat to Earth and the surrounding systems." Xandra pulsed with alarm, his form flashing a deep, worried blue. "What can we do?" "The Council has authorized a full-scale investigation," Zax said. "Ambassador, you are to return to Earth immediately. Assess the situation, and coordinate with the human authorities. We need to find a way to neutralize this anomaly before it's too late." Xyloth nodded, his mind already racing with possibilities. "Understood, Counselor. We'll get to the bottom of this." As the transmission ended and the view screen faded to black, Xyloth turned to Xandr, his expression grim. "Set a course for Earth, maximum velocity. And get me Prime Minister Chandra on the line. We need to brief the humans on the situation." The journey back to Earth was a tense one, filled with urgent conferences and frantic analysis of the anomaly's ever-shifting data. By the time the Celestia entered Earth's orbit, Xyloth and his crew were no closer to understanding the nature of the threat they faced. As they touched down at the landing site, they were greeted by a somber delegation of human leaders, Prime Minister Chandra at their head. Gone were the festive trappings of the Unity Festival, replaced by an air of grim determination. "Ambassador," Chandra said, her voice tight with concern. "We've been monitoring the anomaly. It's like nothing we've ever seen." Xyloth inclined his head, his antennae drooping with worry. "Our scientists are equally baffled, Prime Minister. But one thing is clear, we must find a way to stop it, before it's too late." Chandra nodded, her eyes flashing with resolve. "We're already mobilizing our best minds. Physicists, engineers, anyone who might have a clue about how to deal with this. We'll work around the clock if we have to." Over the next few days, the situation grew increasingly dire. The anomaly continued to grow, its distortion of spacetime becoming more and more pronounced. Reports of strange phenomena began to pour in from across the globe: gravitational anomalies, temporal distortions, localized singularities that defied explanation. Xyloth and his crew worked tirelessly alongside the humans, poring over data, running simulations, desperately seeking a solution. But even with the combined brilliance of two species, the answer remained maddeningly out of reach. It was during one of these marathon sessions that a young human physicist, Dr. Lena Sorensen, burst into the conference room, her face alight with excitement. "I think I've got it," she exclaimed, her words tumbling out in a rush. "The anomaly, it's like a cosmic dance, a synchronous movement of spacetime. And I think I know how we can counteract it." Xyloth leaned forward, his eyes widening with hope. "How?" Dr. Sorensen grinned, her eyes sparkling with a manic energy. "By dancing back." The plan was audacious, borderline insane. But as Dr. Sorensen laid out the details, Xyloth felt a growing sense of excitement. It was a long shot, but it just might work. The idea was simple: if the anomaly was a cosmic dance, then the key to neutralizing it was to create a counter-dance, a synchronized movement of humanity that would cancel out the distortion. By harnessing the power of Earth's global communication networks and the innate rhythms of the human species, they could create a unified wave of energy, a pulse that would ripple out across the planet and into the very fabric of spacetime. It was a plan that required the cooperation of every human on Earth, a feat of coordination and unity unprecedented in the history of the species. But as Xyloth watched the determined faces of the human leaders around him, he knew they would stop at nothing to save their world. And so, the great cosmic dance began. Across the planet, humans of every nation, every culture, every walk of life, began to move in unison. They danced in the streets, in their homes, in vast stadiums and tiny villages. They danced to the beat of a single, global rhythm, their movements synchronized by a network of quantum-entangled communication devices. Xyloth and his crew watched in awe as the dance unfolded, a rippling wave of human energy that swept across the planet like a tide. And as the final, triumphant beat echoed out into the cosmos, they saw the anomaly begin to waver, its distortion of spacetime faltering in the face of humanity's unified will. It was a moment that would be remembered for generations, a testament to the power of human spirit and the unbreakable bonds of unity. And as the anomaly faded, dissipating into the void like a half-remembered dream, Xyloth knew that he had witnessed something truly extraordinary. The humans had done the impossible. They had faced down a cosmic threat, not with weapons or warships, but with the sheer force of their collective will. They had danced in the face of annihilation, and they had emerged victorious. As the celebration erupted across the planet, Xyloth turned to Prime Minister Chandra, his voice thick with emotion. "Your people," he said, his antennae quivering with admiration, "are truly remarkable." Chandra smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "We are," she said simply. "And now, the galaxy knows it." And as the Celestia once again lifted off from Earth, carrying the ambassador and his crew back out into the stars, Xyloth knew that he would never look at humanity the same way again. They were a species unlike any other, a people of boundless courage and indomitable spirit. And he knew, with a certainty that rang in his very bones, that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had faced the unknown, and they had emerged stronger, brighter, more alive than ever before. The cosmic dance had ended. But the story of humanity, the story of a species that could move the very heavens with the power of their unity, was only just beginning. The power of human spirit. In the weeks following the cosmic anomaly crisis, Ambassador Xyloth found himself in a state of perpetual awe. The events he had witnessed on Earth had shaken him to his very core, forcing him to reevaluate everything he thought he knew about the nature of intelligent life. The humans, with their chaotic creativity and unbridled passion, had achieved something that the Galactic Federation had long thought impossible. They had faced down an existential threat, not with advanced technology or superior firepower, but with the sheer force of their collective will. It was a feat that had sent shockwaves rippling through the galactic community. Species that had once dismissed humanity as a primitive, backwater civilization were now clamoring for their attention, eager to learn the secrets of their success. And at the center of it all was Xyloth, the ambassador who had been there to witness humanity's finest hour. He found himself inundated with requests for interviews, for speaking engagements, for any scrap of insight into the enigma that was Earth. But as the galaxy marveled at humanity's triumph, Xyloth knew that there was more to the story than met the eye. He had seen firsthand the depths of human ingenuity, the boundless resilience of their spirit. And he knew that the true power of humanity lay not in their ability to dance in the face of destruction, but in the unbreakable bonds that held them together. It was a lesson that was driven home to him in the most unexpected of ways. As he prepared to depart Earth for a final time, Xyloth was approached by a small delegation of humans, led by none other than Dr. Lena Sorensen, the brilliant physicist who had devised the plan that had saved the planet. "Ambassador," Dr. Sorensen said, her voice trembling with emotion. "We wanted to thank you for believing in us, even when we didn't believe in ourselves." Xyloth blinked, his antennae twitching with surprise. "It is I who should be thanking you, Dr. Sorensen. Your plan, your vision, it was nothing short of miraculous." Dr. Sorensen shook her head, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "It wasn't just me," she said softly. "It was all of us. Every single human on this planet, working together, believing in each other. That's what saved us, in the end. Not my equations, not your technology. Just, us." Xyloth felt a sudden, overwhelming surge of emotion. He had spent his entire career studying the intricacies of interspecies relations, the delicate dance of diplomacy and negotiation. But in that moment, he realized that he had been missing the most fundamental truth of all. The true power of any species, the key to their survival and their success, lay not in their individual strengths, but in their ability to come together, to work as one in the face of adversity. It was a lesson that humanity had learned long ago, a lesson that they had been teaching the galaxy, even if they didn't realize it. From their first tentative steps into the cosmos to their unwavering unity in the face of annihilation, they had shown the power of a species that could stand together, no matter the odds. And as Xyloth boarded the Celestia for the last time, he knew that he would carry that lesson with him for the rest of his days. He had come to Earth as an observer, a dispassionate assessor of a young species' potential. But he left as something more, something deeper. He left as a believer in the indomitable spirit of humanity, in the power of unity and the unbreakable bonds of friendship that could span the stars. As the Celestia lifted off, carrying Xyloth back out into the vast expanse of space, he found himself looking back at the small, blue-green world that had changed his life in so many ways. He saw the cities, the oceans, the vast tapestry of human civilization spread out beneath him like a jeweled carpet. And he saw something else, something that he had never noticed before. A network of lights, stretching out from every corner of the planet, pulsing in perfect synchronicity. It was the same network that had saved Earth from destruction, the same web of connection and communication that had allowed humanity to dance as one in the face of the unknown. But now, as Xyloth watched, he saw that the network was more than just a tool, more than just a means to an end. It was a symbol, a representation of everything that made humanity special. It was a testament to their unbreakable spirit, to their boundless capacity for cooperation and compassion. And as the Celestia disappeared into the void, carrying Xyloth back to the stars, he knew that he would never forget what he had learned on Earth. He would carry the memory of that shining network with him always, a reminder of the true power of the human spirit. For he had seen the face of the future, and it was a face of unity, of connection, of a species that could stand together against any challenge, any adversary. It was the face of humanity. And it was beautiful beyond words. A new era of galactic relations. In the months following Ambassador Xyloth's departure from Earth, the Galactic Federation found itself in a state of unprecedented upheaval. The news of humanity's triumph over the cosmic anomaly had spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of interest and speculation across the galaxy. Species that had once dismissed Earth as a backwater curiosity were now clamoring for their attention, eager to establish diplomatic ties and learn the secrets of their success. The Federation Council was inundated with requests for information, for access, for any scrap of insight into the enigmatic species that had danced in the face of oblivion and emerged victorious. And at the center of it all was Xyloth, the ambassador who had been there to witness humanity's finest hour. He found himself thrust into the spotlight, his every word and action dissected by a galaxy hungry for knowledge. But as the fervor grew, Xyloth knew that there was more at stake than simple curiosity. The events on Earth had fundamentally altered the galactic balance of power, and the Federation needed to adapt if it was to maintain its place in the new order. And so, a year to the day after the cosmic dance that had saved Earth, Xyloth found himself once again standing before the Federation Council, ready to deliver a report that would shape the course of galactic history. "Esteemed counselors," he began, his voice ringing out across the vast chamber. "1 year ago, I stood before you as an ambassador to a species we barely understood. Today, I stand before you as a witness to their greatness, and as an advocate for a new era of galactic relations." The chamber fell silent, every eye and sensory organ fixed on Xyloth as he spoke. "The humans, they are a species unlike any we have encountered before. Their creativity, their passion, their indomitable spirit, these are not weaknesses, as some have suggested. They are strengths, powers that we can scarcely comprehend." Xyloth's antennae quivered with emotion as he continued, his voice growing stronger with each word. "When faced with an existential threat, the humans did not cower in fear. They did not turn to us for salvation. They stood together, united in purpose and resolve, and they faced the unknown with courage and determination." A murmur ran through the chamber, a ripple of awe and disbelief. And in doing so, Xyloth pressed on, "They showed us the true power of unity. They showed us that a species that stands together, that believes in each other, is capable of anything." He paused, his compound eyes scanning the faces of the assembled counselors. "My fellow members of the Federation, the time has come for us to learn from humanity's example. The time has come for us to forge a new path, a path of cooperation and understanding between all species." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of chittering and chirping, 1,000 different voices speaking at once. But Xyloth's voice rose above the din, calm and clear and filled with conviction. "I propose a new initiative," he said, his words cutting through the noise like a beam of light. "An exchange program, between Earth and the Federation worlds. Let us send our best and brightest to learn from the humans, to study at their institutions and work alongside their scientists and thinkers. And let us welcome them here, to share their knowledge and their perspective with us. The chamber fell silent once more, a hush of anticipation settling over the assembled counselors. In doing so, Xyloth continued, we will not only strengthen the bonds between our species, we will lay the foundation for a new era of galactic relations. An era of unity, of cooperation, of a galaxy united in purpose and in spirit. He turned to face the counselors directly, his antennae held high in a gesture of resolve. The humans have shown us the way, he said, his voice ringing with conviction. Now it falls to us to follow their lead. It falls to us to build a future together, a future brighter than any we have known before. And as he spoke those final words, Xyloth felt a surge of emotion unlike anything he had ever known. Pride in the species he had come to admire so deeply. Hope for a future of endless possibility and potential. For he knew, with a certainty that rang in his very bones, that the galaxy would never be the same. The cosmic dance had changed everything, had set in motion a chain of events that would shape the course of history for generations to come. And at the center of it all, shining like a beacon of hope and inspiration, was humanity. The species that had looked into the face of the unknown and found the courage to dance. The species that had shown the galaxy the true power of unity, of cooperation, of the unbreakable bonds that could span the stars. Xyloth looked out over the chamber, at the sea of faces gazing back at him in rapt attention. And he knew that he was witnessing the birth of a new era, a new chapter in the story of the galaxy. The era of humanity had begun. And the cosmos would never be the same. As the Celestia slipped effortlessly through the star-strewn void, carrying Xyloth back to his home world, the ambassador found himself lost in contemplation. The events of the past year played out in his mind's eye like a vivid holodrama, each scene etched indelibly into his memory. He thought of the Interstellar Unity Festival, of the riot of color and sound that had greeted his arrival on Earth. He thought of the cosmic anomaly, of the terror and uncertainty that had gripped the galaxy in its wake. But most of all, he thought of the humans themselves. Of their courage, their resilience, their unbreakable spirit in the face of adversity. They had shown the entire galaxy, what it meant to be truly alive. And now, as he watched the stars streak by outside the viewport, Xyloth knew that the future belonged to them. The exchange program he had proposed would be just the beginning, the first step on a journey that would lead humanity to the very heights of galactic influence. There would be challenges, of course. There always were. Some species would resist the change, would cling to the old ways out of fear or mistrust. But Xyloth knew that they would come around, in time. The sheer force of human spirit was too powerful to be denied. And so, as the Celestia sailed on through the infinite expanse of space, Xyloth allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy was changing, evolving, growing in ways that he had never dared to imagine. And at the heart of it all, driving the change with their boundless energy and indomitable will, were the humans. The future was bright. The future was full of hope and promise and potential. And the future, Xyloth knew with absolute certainty, belonged to Earth. As the ambassador leaned back in his chair, his antennae twitching with contentment, he found himself wondering what marvels the humans would unveil next. What impossible feats they would accomplish, what uncharted territories they would conquer. For if there was one thing he had learned from his time among them, it was this: there was no limit to what humanity could achieve when they stood together. No frontier they could not cross, no obstacle they could not overcome. Theirs was a destiny that shone bright against the cosmic backdrop, a future written in the stars themselves. And Xyloth could hardly wait to see what the next chapter would bring.